Well, we've heard a lot of talk about a low-carbon economy and about a Green New Deal and so on. I'd like to see some real measures that will genuinely transform our economy, our transport system, our homes, and so on. So that means a real commitment to insulate every single home in the country. We believe that that can be done, and would create tens of thousands of new jobs. A real program to get solar panels and micro generation right across the country. Massive investment in wind power, and looking at building more affordable housing as well to tackle some of the urgent housing crisis. And of course, we want to see some social measures, because the poor have been really neglected under this government, and we want to start seeing that redressed, especially as the recession bites. The electric vehicles programme, it could work, but there's two key things that we need to remember as well. Firstly, that the source of the electricity is absolutely vital. So unless we have a massive switch to renewable energy, we're not actually tackling the problem of reducing CO2 emissions. We're merely shuffling around the emissions if we're going to power them from coal-powered fire stations, for example. So we need that big commitment to switch to renewable energy, and a big programme to do that. And also we need the emphasis on public transport. We don't just want to see our existing car-based economies swapping over from the petrol and diesel engine to the electric vehicle. Yes, there is a real role for electric vehicles, but we urgently need to reduce traffic, improve public transport, get more people out their cars, onto buses, onto trains, and onto their bikes. I think we need to absolutely look at bottom rates of income tax. I think it was a disaster to scrap the 10p tax rate. I also think we need to look at pensions as well. So many of our pensioners are living in real poverty and having to make choices every day between eating properly or heating their homes properly. That's not right. We want to see a clear commitment to an affordable living pension that everyone would be entitled to. So I think we need to see some movement there. We also need to see some real attempts to tackle child poverty, and it's the government's record has been very, very poor on that. I think we need to look at how we meet those existing targets and look at other measures as well. I just think the government has failed on this. The government at the moment wasting a huge amount on ID cards, billions of pounds on that, on the Trident programme and replacing Trident, on the road building programme. Now, just with those three key spending items, you free up billions and billions of pounds that could be much better spent on the sort of economy we want. Really looking at investing in renewable energy, in energy conservation measures, as well as ensuring that the poorest in our society get a fair deal. And potentially, in terms of how do we square the circle for funding green plans and recession action plans and so on, again, we could free up billions of pounds of revenue if we really got to grips with tax evasion.
Okay, and how about actual predictions? So let's go out of the world of what you'd like to see there. What are you actually expecting?
Well, this electric vehicles scheme has been touted. I think we could well see something along those lines. I think we'll see some sort of green investment. I really doubt whether it will be enough. I really doubt whether we'll see that commitment to really transform our economy into a low carbon economy. And basically, they've had 11 years to do this. I mean, the science about climate change and the urgency of it has been with us for a number of years, and really this government has failed to grasp the nettle time and time again. So I'm not expecting too much from them, even with the added impetus of the recession and the need to create new jobs and stimulate the economy. the urgency of climate change and the fact that we've got so few years now to really start to transform our economy and our transport system and everything means we've really got to move quickly. But I also think people are starting to understand that the job creation potential and in terms of a Keynesian spending plan in terms of boosting demand and so on. That there is a win-win situation in terms of tackling the recession and in terms of creating jobs and reducing carbon emissions. And I think we've got to see some real investment in that. We cannot put off tackling climate change until this recession is over. We've got to use the recession as an opportunity to take it forward. For the past couple of decades, we've had this mantra of public sector bad, private sector good, and I think that the pendulum swung far too much away from the public sector. And I do think we need a healthy, balanced, mixed economy. I think there will be massive opportunities for the private sector in terms of renewable energy, in terms of home insulation schemes, in terms of cleaner buses, investing in public transport. And so on. But that's not to say we don't also need a strong role for the public sector as well. There's a strong role for local authorities here. There's a strong role for government. And I don't see that as a problem. And we need the work doing at the end of the day. That is the most important thing. We really need that work doing. So it is all hands to the pump. I think we need the involvement of the private sector. We need a strong public sector as well. When we've seen a ridiculous situation with the PFI schemes, which we've been warning for several years, were not cost effective and were actually wasting public money, we're now seeing because the banks don't want to fund PFI schemes anymore, the government is then funding its own PFI schemes in some sort of mad Alice in Wonderland economics. And we've got to get back to thinking that there is absolutely nothing wrong with public sector investment as part of a healthy, vibrant, mixed economy.